The three top methods for solving the 2x2 are Ortega, CLL, and EG. Which method is the best? So this is a remake of Ortega vs CLL vs EG Part 1 that I did. That was one of my first videos. It's now my second most viewed video, but that doesn't really go in depth, but that's what I'll attempt to address in this video. How do these methods work? So, for Ortega, the first step is to make a face. It doesn't have to be the full layer. These colors do not have to match, but it just has to be a face. So that's a first face. And then you do OLO, and which solves the top layer. And then you do PBL, which solves the rest. And PBL standing for permute both layers. Next is CLL. So how to solve this method is, firstly, you start by making a layer, the full layer, unlike Ortega where you just have to do the face. And then you do one algorithm from here, and that solves the rest. And it's called CLL because it's corners last layer, and that's what it stands for, corners of the last layer. So how's the EG method work? Well, you start off by making, well, generally a face. That kind of was lucky. And then you do one of three things. It's split into three subcategories. The first one is just the same as CLL, or what I mentioned previously, where you just solve the rest. This is the exact same as CLL. That's just called a CLL, which is the same as last time. But when you make your first face, it might not be fully solved. You might have just a layer here. And then even if it's not solved, unlike Ortega, you just solve the whole cube after this. And this subset is called EG1. Or the third case is when you finish your face, you have a diagonal swap on the bottom. In this case, you can do one of two things. You can do what's called an EG2 algorithm, which is where you solve the cube. Or the other thing you could do is do your CLL algorithm such that there's a diagonal corner swap on the top, in which this case you can do right to, front to, right to, or right to, back to, right to. So what's the average amount of moves that each method does? So for Ortega and EG, the first face is about 3 moves, somewhere around that. So for Ortega, the average moves is 7 for OLO and 9 for PBL. For EG, it's about 9 for the algorithms. So if you add that up, for Ortega it's about 19 moves, for EG it's about 16 moves, and for CLL, the first layer usually takes 7 moves, but the average COLL algorithm is about 10 moves, so it's about 17 moves. So we can say that EG is first, CLL is second, and Ortega's last by just a little bit. So what about how many algorithms do you have to know to learn these methods? Well, for Ortega, for basic Ortega, there's a reason I'll say that in just a bit. There's 12 algorithms. For CLL, there's 42 algorithms. And for EG, this one's interesting. For CLL, for the CLL cases, there's 42. For EG1, there's 43. And for EG2, there's also 43 algorithms. Add those up, you get 120 algorithms. That is a lot, isn't it? But the reality is, if you mirrored them, and if you use anti-CLL, you actually half those algorithms to get 63 algorithms. So, but still, Ortega wins on this. What about cube rotations? Now, if you don't know what a cube rotation is, it's literally this, what you think it is, rotating, like that. So for EG and CLL, they have no cube rotations because you always make the first layer on the bottom, and you require 1 algorithm to solve the rest, and you can just do up AUFs in any direction, and then you can solve it. But for Ortega, I'm going to show you an example. So I do soon, and I get to this. So if you are straight from my Ortega tutorial, link right there, then for this, you usually don't know what to do when the top is all solved and the bottom is not. Usually what you have to do is flip the cube over, and this counts as a cube rotation. Because in Ortega, sometimes if you have this case when one of the layers is completely solved and the other has adjacent, then you usually hold the solved on the bottom, but if it's not on the bottom, you have to rotate, and that's very bad. So that's a very bad blow to Ortega. Well, remember in the beginning when I said basic Ortega? What I mean is that's just learning the algorithms and then cube rotating if you have to. But kind of a more advanced Ortega has algorithms for solving these. So for this, you could go like this. And for Ortega, when you have 2 bars, you usually hold them in the front and do something like this, and then AUF. But if you got the case from the back, then usually you'd have to cube rotate, but then you can learn another algorithm which can go something like this. So, let's get to the point. Which algorithm is the best? Well, let's be real, everyone has different preferences, and that can be largely justified. So, for Ortega, the main reason I would say to learn it is it has the least amount of algorithms. Now, that's just basic Ortega. If you want to go more advanced Ortega, I'm not sure how many algorithms there are. Maybe 5 or 6 extra algorithms. But yeah. Now, a reason for using CLL, well, if you use the root method on 3x3, one of the steps is to solve all the corners in one go. And that's exactly what the CLL method uses. One of the steps is solving all the corners in one go. So if you use root, you should definitely use CLL on 2x2. And for EG, well, there's a special skill called one looking. What does that mean? Well, it's when you scramble the cube, it's basically being to see the entire solve in here, so you don't have to pause. Now, I can't do that, but there definitely are people that can do that. Oh, that's PBL skip. So, if you want to do one looking, then probably go for the EG method. And you can pretty much solve the cube in, probably 2 seconds. So, thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed. I have a Q&A that closes on May the 24th. So make sure you don't miss that. Click right there if you still want to put your questions in. And see you next time.